Aurora Women's Conference. Aurora Women's Conference is on June 8th and 9th, 2023 at the Alaa Hotel, Accra. Be deliberate about changing your life. Register now at www.strandsofpearls.org or WhatsApp +233 265 051 182. Aurora Women's Conference. Reflect. Reset. Aurora. The Aurora Women's Conference 2022 featured thought leaders in a panel discussion on how to lead and manage change in challenging times.
We're going to kickstart with a panel discussion on leading and managing change. And I'm going to invite our moderator, Dr. Ida Opoku-Mensah. Let's welcome her with a round of applause.
Good morning, my queens, and the few kings who are around helping us out. We're always grateful for this. My name is Ida Opoku-Mensah, and it's absolutely my delight to moderate this exciting panel, which is leading and managing change. What does it take? I think that there's going to be some interesting perspectives because I have super awesome speakers that will provide insight into how we lead and manage change. So please, without further ado, let me just welcome the speakers onto the stage to join me. The first is Miss Fatoumata Doro. Could you please join us? Please give her a round of applause. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next is Kiran Daswani, please. My sister. Or my daughter. Wonderful. The next panel member is Miss Carol Anang. Please give her a round of applause. And last but not the least is Dr. Alaa El-Halwagy, who is our expert who will give us insights into what it means to be to manage change. So thank you, welcome panelists. I'm really very delighted to be sitting with such awesome figures such as yourselves. I'm looking to learn from you and from your experience. So this is going to be super exciting. Another round of applause before we start. So the aim of this discussion is that we will learn about the tools and the skills that we can apply to help successfully navigate change in our workplace. I'm not sure whether how, you know, my background is working in a super big organization, which is the United Nations, and every 4 years we go through change. Particularly when there's a new Secretary General, then there's a reform of the UN which never finishes. By the time the reform is finished, the next Secretary General comes and he starts his own reform. And so change management is something that institutions, particularly big ones, always grapple with. Maybe the smaller ones, organizations are much more agile, but big institutions tend to grapple with change management. So let me start by turning to Fatoumata. Is it Fatoumata? Fatoumata. My sister Fatoumata, and maybe you can kickstart this discussion. And how do you manage change? What does it take from your perspective?
I think usually we see change as being a negative word, and we shouldn't see that. We shouldn't fear change. We should see change as being something positive. There is no such thing as failure. It is always just life taking you to the right direction. So change for me, I always embrace it because I know after the change, I will come out stronger, better, fearless. I see that we've gone through a lot the past few years with COVID, with different situations that we have gone, the economic situation. But what has helped me really was, first of all, be clear and have a purpose. What do I stand for? What are the things that I will never really negotiate for? What is my dream? What is my DNA as a person? When you have a purpose and it's clear in your head, then whatever task you have to implement, then you put together a vision first. The vision has to be totally in sync with your purpose. Because no matter anything challenges you will go through, if your vision is clear, you will overcome it. You will go to failure, you will fall, but you will stand up. You need to have something that you are passionate about, something that ginger you, they said in Nigeria. You know, when you think about it, no matter what it takes, you will make it happen, regardless the changes. When you have that passion, it creates your vision when you are working on a task. And then after the vision, then you start thinking about, how do I strategize? How do I make it happen with all the things happening around you, all the obstacles you are facing? And that's where you have to surround yourself with the right people. Getting surrounded, and I think today is the right days. We are surrounded by so many amazing women. It's the first things in life. If you don't have the right people around you, there is no way you are going to overcome it. Be surrounded by the right people and be passionate about what you are doing.
We'll come back to that. Thank you very much. A round of applause, please. Let me also turn to another equally dynamic person and find out from her. Carol, can you please talk to us about what strategies you need to put in place when you're managing change?
Probably the first thing I will say when you have to manage a change process is that you must believe in what you're changing, because it starts with you. Change is it brings up a lot of anxiety in people. It makes people feel anxious, it makes people scared. But to efficiently and effectively lead change, you have to believe in that change. So the first thing for me is, if you don't believe in it, then don't even start it. Don't do it just because somebody says it should be done. Do it because it should be done and you believe that it should be done. The next thing I would say about managing change is that listen, because there's a plan, but the response you get to implementing that plan is not always planned. So you have to listen. You have to listen and you have to observe. But like Fatoumata said, you have to stay focused. You mustn't let the reactions that you get completely take you off track. But you have to be mindful of them and you have to see how you can build them into the process and be conscious of them and try to address the issues that they bring up. So it's important that you do that. And I think that the last thing I would say is, change is uncomfortable, or change can be uncomfortable for everyone, different aspects of it. Be human and don't be afraid to let the people that you are leading through a change process know that there are some parts of it that you are not sure of yourself. Because when people show humanity in the right way, you find that more of the people you're leading can identify better with you, because first and foremost, we're all human beings. Before we begin to think about whether we are mothers, whether we are leaders, whether we are organizational captains or whatever, we are human beings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause, please, for Carol. Maybe you can share with us some of the challenges that you've had with managing change in your respective roles and how you've overcome them?
So for me, I think leadership for me, because I sit at the top and I have founded my company, which is a property development. Conflict for me now, I actually handle it in the way where I actually think, is the conflict with me or is the conflict caused by something outside? So I don't react right away, because it has shown me many times that maybe I reacted because of my own weakness, which we all do have, because before being leaders or CEOs or whatever, we are humans and we do carry a lot of baggage as individuals inside us that then may reflect in our leadership, right? So before I would be very impulsive and maybe react, and it actually showed me, you know, that my leadership skills or style at that time was very dictatorial, and it wasn't growing the company the way it should. It's helped me also reflect, right? And today, when there is conflict, I first take my time and I say, is the conflict with me or is this a conflict of the business? When I see the conflict is in the business, I first look at the individual and first bring in maybe the compassion and the empathy. If that person, is that person okay? So first I take it to the personal, and then I will take it to the business angle.
Thank you. Dr. Alaa, what in your view can be done currently with the changes that we see in the work environment?
A lot of things. To begin with, we have to create a culture of psychological safety. What I mean by that is everybody is entitled for their opinion, and everybody has their say, but they may not have their way. Okay, it will go back to the leadership to decide on the direction of the organization, but that doesn't stop anyone in the organization, from the person that opened the door in the morning, to the person that cleaned the floors, to the person that prepared the coffee and tea, to the executive room. Everyone must have a say. That's number one. Number two, we have a leadership deficit, and I have to be honest with you. Most of the challenges that happen organizationally is because we have the wrong leaders on the top. When you have the right leader on the top, things will fall in place. What does this really mean, or how does this look like? A leader that have a very thick skin, that even if the employee attack the leader, they will be able to accept that, contain them, and redirect. You cannot take anything personal when you are in a leadership position. You can't. You have to allow people to speak their piece, to speak their mind. And if they don't, then don't expect much from them. Okay. By the way, when I talk about organization, family is included. Family is the most complex organization under the sun, because it's the only organization that has two CEOs, the father and the mother. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. So they have to come to terms about what is our family all about, what is our brand all about, how are we going to raise our children, how are we going to educate our children, how are we going to face challenges in life. So it is an organization. So when my talk is about your family and the place of work and the place of worship as well, there got to be openness, folks. And if we don't have openness, we're going to be standing still. No change will happen.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sometimes I must admit, it's very difficult to find the time, but it's important that you do. In my case, what I used to do was that I had other people who were beneath me, who were managing people. So I was at the top. But what I used to do is take groups of people to lunch and just relax and just say, look, I'm treating you all for lunch, maybe a group of 10 one week. My secretary will schedule another group the following month. And that helps build those kinds of things.
there's a real deficit of leadership in organizations. And that's because of maybe the political culture that we have. Certain people get to be in leadership positions by virtue of the fact that, particularly in the public sector, by virtue of the fact that they have connections more than they are qualified. And that can skew organizational development and the organizational culture. And that can also affect lives negatively. So we have to be cognizant of all these things, but it is absolutely imperative that we adapt some measure of interactive management, where we communicate with people, whether it's the cleaner or it's the guard, security guard. It's very important. So with this, I'll bring this panel discussion to an end. Help me thank our magnificent speakers, please.
Aurora Women's Conference is on June 8th and 9th, 2023 at the Alisa Hotel, Accra. Be deliberate about changing your life. Register now at www.strandsofpearls.org or WhatsApp +233 265 051 182. Aurora Women's Conference. Reflect. Reset. Roar.